Hey everybody, it's Honesty, and this is the Right Honesty Podcast. I am here with no, what do they say? None other than the Attorney General. Attorney General, how are you?
I'm good, and we're back.
We are back. We are back. We are back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yes,
Welcome back.
sing
Welcome
it.
back.
Of course, we're showing our age at the fact
I
that
know,
both of
right?
us know that song, but that's fine. That's okay. Crows unite. Although I do think we have to give a
Yeah, we got
mea
to start with
culpa
flowers.
disclaimer,
Yeah,
right? Because we're going to dive into the world that is one of our mutual all-time faves, Christina
absolutely.
C. Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And the mea culpa is while we did do the Connecticut Kings, we started in the Connecticut Kings,
Mm-hmm.
we never gave CCJ her individual time in the sun. And it
True.
wasn't intentional. But once we
Mm-mm.
were like, oh my God, how could we let we must correct. And so
Have
here
to.
we are, right?
Yeah.
And even us identifying which ones we wanted to talk about, because candidly, we want to talk about all of them, but we can't
Yep.
do an entire season dedicated to
For all
CCJ.
every single book. She done wrote about a
Exactly.
238 books, so we can't
Exact
even
and growing, right?
and growing.
And growing. But what we can do is an episode or two or more.
Or
Uh,
more, maybe,
we'll see how
maybe.
that
We'll
plays out.
see. Yeah.
Talking about some of the ones that we selected out. And so I'm excited for that. But I wanted to acknowledge that it took us longer to get here
Yeah.
than I think either of us realized. And then we were
We
like,
were
oh my
derelict
God,
in
how did,
our duty for
yeah,
sure.
we were like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Looking at each other, how did that happen?
Right.
So
When I write people up at work, it is for neglect of duty.
exactly,
So
exactly.
we neglected our duty. So we are for sure here to talk about one of the best to ever do it. When I came
Hmm.
back to romance, her catalog was one of the first that I devoured. She is definitely one of the reasons that I started writing, and my early work definitely emulates her. You're gonna like if you know her cadence and you read some of my early stuff, like you can tell who people's influences are. Phenomenal author,
Yes, yes.
phenomenal author, no two ways about it, and just a sweet person all around. So a win is a win for sure. To talk about her, I'm excited about it.
Yes. So we picked for our first foray, we keep calling them the inevitables,
Yes,
which I
that's who
keep
they are
calling
now.
the Incredibles in my mind.
Yeah, but they are the inevitables. This is Cora and Tariq and Nubia and Steph. These are my two picks for some of my favorites. If I need to reread, I'm starting here.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
starting
And
with these
so,
two.
just so we're clear, Inevitable Conclusions is Cora
Yes,
and Tariq, and
yes,
Inevitable Seductions is Stefan and Nubia.
yes. So AG, how do you want to do this? Do you want you which one do you want to do the summary for? And then we
You
can
pick your
get
first,
started.
and then you do one, and I'll do the other.
Okay, I'm gonna start. I think because yeah, I'll do Cora and Tariq because it went a lot of places.
Yes, it did.
And I remember, and it just even in my reread to kind of refresh my memory, although I didn't really need to be too refreshed. I remember the first time I read this, and I was like, by the time you get to the middle and toward the end, you finding out about the daddy, you finding out it's like this stuff
Yes.
is just coming, oh my God.
Yes,
So,
yes,
but I also really liked Cora. So let's see. Cora is a choreographer.
yes. Well,
And
what's the triumphant? She's a singer, dancer,
she right the triple
actress.
threat. Yeah.
Yes, triple threat. Yes.
She's a triple threat but she's working on this project, and we she and Tariq kind of go way back. um they were friends and it never really materialized. They had that one moment, right? That sometimes we have with our friends that but he was really a safe place for her, especially
Yes.
in the hellish house that she grew up in.
Yes.
um when they reunite, well, they kind of remain friends throughout the years, especially after she gets pregnant with Dawn, and I think he
Yes.
helps to name her, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken.
Mhm.
And they are a pillar for each other, they are safety blankets for each other, they are ride or die for each other. But well, let me say they broke up initially because I think she misunderstood what she thought she saw. um Because he didn't actually cheat with that girl. It was just like a picture or something like that.
Yes, yes, it was. I think what it's described is that might have been the match that finally
Yeah,
exploded things. But
yeah.
from her memory, it was more than just one argument. It was like growing hostilities between them
Right, because
over
they were friends that,
misunderstandings.
yeah, they were
Correct.
friends that tried to be lovers, but they were young and dumb. They didn't know how to do it.
Yes,
And
exactly.
so they were arguing about everything, and it got messy really quickly. And so they, I think, took some time apart and then kind of scampered back into the friend zone because that was safest. And so years go by, the baby grows up. She really sees Tariq as her dad, or at least a close uncle, but he is a pillar in the child's life too, Dawn's life. And we get her book too. And they end up, oh, she gets married to this man, Paul. She don't care about the man, she get married to him. And Paul
Yes.
is sort of a rival to Tariq. Um,
Hmm.
and they get divorced, and she comes back to Tariq, and their friendship is apparent. They kind of have a friends with benefits situation. He's dating a woman when she comes back around to kind of get her itch scratched.
Yes.
And so through the course of Adrian don't like that part.
No.
Through the course of the book, we learn about their history. We see the value of their friendship and how much it means to both of them. But we see their coming together as a couple finally.
Yes.
And then towards the end, we see that she wants to start a family and kind of the trouble that they have with that. But then that gets resolved in the second book.
Hmm.
Did I leave anything out?
No, well, I think the other piece would just be
Oh, yeah, with the dad.
realizing. I was gonna just say that one of the other things that they had in common was parental issues, right?
Yeah,
For
yeah.
Cora, her mother was also a famous actress who had a
Hmm.
bad drinking problem and terrible taste in men. And for Tariq, his mother had a diagnosed, I think she's bipolar,
Yeah, it's kind
um,
of like a
a
schizophrenic, something like that.
diagnosed condition,
Yeah.
and they have a very complicated relationship. And so that's another place where there is a parallel there between these two friends that have been in each other's lives and for many years, and have
Yeah.
consistently veered between friends and lovers. But like you said,
Mhm.
because the romantic relationship was disastrous, they just went back to like friends with benefits when they
Mhm.
were not involved with other
Otherwise
people, which I
occupied.
never. I was just like, this is a lie from the pit of hell. Don't sit here and tell me y'all just bumping uglies, but come on now. But yes.
Right.
So
And we can get into this because you had feelings about it and I had feelings about it, like when they would try to pursue other people and she even got married, and it's like you knew the feelings was not there. The song say, if your heart isn't in it, why wait, what it say? If your heart wasn't in it, why
why
didn't
can't
you
you
tell
tell
me
me so?
so?
Why can't you tell me so?
Right.
If my heart
That's what
wasn't
that
in it, I'd
said.
have been gone long
I'd have
ago.
been gone long ago.
Sing it, Atlantic Star.
That's what I'm saying. We could have wrapped this up. All right. So we have our list of things, but before we get into the list, Adrian, how did you walk away from it?
So Cora worked my nerves, but I enjoy this story. Because CCJ gave us, like you said, it went in a number of different directions. And I think even though this is not too early, but this is earlier for her, she pulled it all together really well, so it didn't feel all over the place. And Cora irritated me because it was the ooh, 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 I can't, I can't. Oh, I can't. And then, like, I wanted to, yell at CCJ when the moment where Cora's like just about to open her mouth to be like, I think we should try again.
Yeah,
And then
red
she
line.
shoves another fork full of food in her mouth or something stupid,
Mhm.
and in that moment, that's when he's like, you know what, you're right. We should just keep it platonic. I was like, damn it. But I understood that's how it had to go. What I would also say is that because this time, prepping for this conversation, I paid attention to, as I've gotten the habit of doing, of like, at what point in the story did that happen? And so while the angst of it felt like it was going on for a lot longer, CCJ did not, in terms of page wise, in terms of point in the story, that was not dragged out because it was at maybe just at the 50% mark, or just before the 50% mark where they get themselves and together, and they're like, we're going to be together, right? So that
Yeah.
it didn't drag on too long, but I think the angst of it was so potent that it felt like we were in this sea, this abyss of uncertainty and angst, just to drown in with Cora because the girl wouldn't open her mouth. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't open your mouth, please and thanks. I also side-eyed her really hard, this notion that she had married a man that Tariq knew, that was like in his circle. And I was
Yeah.
like, let me make sure I understand this. Y'all fuck when you're not in a relationship with someone
Right.
else. You have closed at his house, he has closed at yours. That has been the arrangement. And
Mm-hmm.
you go and marry someone from his circle?
So
Uh,
she says, if I'm not mistaken, she says that Paul was ready to do it. He was applying pressure. He was ready to be serious, and Tariq was still playing, and they were kind of in that nebulous place. So she felt like, why not? And she also says that she was trying to replace him, and she knew it was getting
yes,
under his
no,
skin.
no, all of that, all of that.
Yeah,
And what I have to remember also is that because Cora got pregnant at 16,
yeah, I
right?
would think so.
Right, and so there's that element of it too. It still irritated me because I was like, "You done dragged us through it." When from the very beginning, Tariq is like, "We were kids back then. We should be able to try it now." And she was the one that was like, "No, no, 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 no." And then it was like, "Wait, yes, 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 yes." And meanwhile, he started dating old girl, Jalissa was her name,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And like on the one hand, she showed her ass. On the other hand, I was kind of like, yeah, but I understand where girl is coming from, right? Because she knew she wasn't crazy. She was not,
Yeah.
on the one hand, he was both honest with her, but on the other hand, he was not honest with her, right? Because it was
Yeah.
like,
I don't think he was honest with her.
see, I thought he was honest in a sense of we are still getting to know each other, you and I. I take my time. You should feel free to please exercise your right to not stand for this
Hmm.
if I am moving too slow, if I am not giving you what you need on your timeline. That is your prerogative. You should use that because this is how I operate. So that's what I mean when I say he was honest, right? Like he was the word is maybe more just like upfront and
He was
transparent.
transparent. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, less. But I agree with you. He was not honest when it came to the Cora situation.
Yeah, because you know your heart is with someone else. You're never going to be able to commit to me and love me the way you love her. What are you talking about?
That and
Like,
this notion that we've just seamlessly, flowed back into being platonic when just a couple of days ago, his face was all in my puss.
right.
Like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay. So that's what
Yeah.
they
Like,
both
come on, bruh.
irritated me. And I kind of, I was glad that Julissa's, her board takeover attempt or whatever you want to call it wasn't successful, but I was like, y'all played in her face. Tariq
Hmm.
played in her face. Tariq played in her
Hmm.
face because, yes, he was saying the right things in terms of what it was between him and Julissa, but bruh, come on.
You
You almost
also
trying to make her
knew.
feel like she was crazy.
Yeah. And you
Yeah,
knew you weren't going to ever give me what I wanted.
that's
Like,
right. No
you
matter
knew
how
in
many,
your
no
heart
matter
how you
how,
felt about her.
that's right.
Yes.
That's
And
right.
about her child. So even if we were to get together, you ain't finna put Dawn down. So I
Right.
got to deal with this woman for the rest of my life. Like, you know what I'm
That's right.
saying?
That's right.
Please go sit down.
That's right.
Okay. My impressions are similar. I loved it. So from a writing standpoint, I enjoyed the pacing of it. I liked, how stuff rolled out. There was enough angst. They had really good chemistry that like leaped
Yes.
off the
Yeah,
page.
really.
Their comfort with each other, the way it opens, and she's like, she knows she can knock on this man's door. She knows he's going to open the door,
Yep.
but it's kind of I know I ain't got no business being here, and at some point he might get tired of my shit, and I just
Yeah.
hope it's not tonight. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But like, he was never going to turn her away.
Right.
It kind of reminded me of the beginning of the King's Book, where the twin brother is standing at Sloane's house and she's making
Yes.
him wait.
Yes.
That kind of tension where you know what it is, but you still have that little thought in the back of your mind, like, "Uh oh, what if?"
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, I enjoyed um, how she brought in the seriousness, also with
Yes.
their their banter and their back and forth, because every time, when something would happen, either whether it was with Cora and her mother, or Cora and the memory of, how Dom came into the world, or him and his mother, like even when they were at their worst, they could always find each other and sort of
Yes.
seek refuge in each other. And I appreciated that. I also loved, like, his grandmother.
Mama
Yeah.
Tamil.
Yes. And this seeing this come together, this idea that, because she does the same thing with Ramsey in terms of him having a really strong maternal figure who is his aunt
Mhm.
after his mom passes. I liked how she really weaves in family, the families, that the family members or friends that she brings into it, into the story. They move the plot forward, but not in an obvious way.
Mhm.
And so I like how subtle she is sometimes, where she uses certain characters or certain plot devices to move the story forward without you being immediately able to tell, like, that's what's going on.
Mm.
She also uses them for exposition, in turn, and it's really artful. Like, you don't typically get from her walls and walls of text telling you what happened. She really does show you what happened,
Mhm.
or she'll use a family member to kind of give you a retrospective, so that it doesn't feel like, you basically, she keeps you in the story.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
stay lost in what's happening in the characters. You don't pull out and start to scroll because you're like, all right, girl, well, I don't care about this. I don't know what this is. You
Yeah.
stay in it the whole time. Go
Side
ahead.
note, I believe that we confirmed through channels that Mama Tamil's, what is it, the concoction for the
Yes.
bathtub, that we
Yes.
will never get that. I think CCJ
No,
confirmed
she
she's
did.
she's never going to lay that out.
Yeah, she
There
said there
and
will be
there's
no
an
recipes.
Right, because there what's the other recipe? I forget. It came up in one of the other shows, but I can't I don't
I
remember what it is
know.
now, but I remember this one being one of the other ones where we were like, "We'll never get that," even though it
Mm-mm.
sounded amazing and quite
Yeah.
effective, but we'll never get the 2 cloves of this, 3
Right,
sprigs
right,
of
right,
that.
right. Yep. And but another character gets it, because the female twin, Nicole Cole, she gets the recipe to take care of Jordan
Yes, yes,
when
yes,
he's
yes,
sick, because she's trying to be on
yes.
her best girlfriend ever, and she got on her
Yes,
nurse's
yes,
outfit.
yes, that's
So the
right.
characters get the background, but we don't get the background.
Shame.
I know it is awful. But in terms of the story, I was blown away. I like when you put the two of them together, and I know we'll talk about Steph and Nubia in a second. I it was unlike anything that I had seen. It was like
Mhm,
it was when you think of like 90s and early 2000s romance, it was a lot of it was Hallmark, not all of it, because there were other like subgenres in romance,
mhm,
but there was a real predictable script.
mhm.
And this was new and modern and fresh, and there was nuance, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess something new is happening now. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
but I think I immediately reread both of them.
Mhm.
Like, they were just, this was a moment for me. So um let's get into loves. What did you love?
I mean, look, I love this story too. It wasn't on my list of all-time faves, but when I reread it, I was reminded how much I enjoyed these two stories, right? So let's stick with Inevitable Conclusions. How much I enjoyed it, and I was able to have patience with Cora when I felt like she was being irritating, because the overall number one, she had not been painted as as
Yeah, she was
unlikable.
very likable. Yeah.
She was very likable, and then, of course, once you get more of who they are, what they have been through, you're able to have some more grace, and then, as I said a moment ago, CCJ did not drag that out too
Yeah.
long. It probably went on just long enough, but the other reveals, right? There were just layers to this story that made it more than the typical friends to lovers romance. And I think had she done that, that would have been fine. Right? It would have
Mm-hmm.
been good. She knows how to give you, good, engaging, interesting characters that provoke emotion from you. But she threw, you know, the bigger curveball was obviously learning about Dawn's paternity, right? But
Mhm.
arguably, learning about Tariq's mother and the background behind that, that's a curveball too, because it's like, oh, you think she tried to kill you? Oh wow. Right? And what that must have meant, and the imprint that that must have left on him, right? And how he continued to struggle with that. So I just appreciated, as a whole, I appreciated, I think to your point, her giving us something that was fresh, that was different, than the typical friends to lovers. Like, she threw some
Mhm.
things in there that were meatier and even more nuanced than the typical we fought our feelings and then there's
Yeah.
a villain a conflict we have to work through and then we come together, because it was less about an internal conflict and more about things that had happened that candidly they had worked through,
Yeah.
but now it's coming to light, right? Particularly with Dawn's paternity and navigating those waters.
Yeah. I loved I don't know if I want to be specific about scenes, but I love a breakup. We talk about this every time.
Hmm.
I loved that their time apart, it wasn't half the book or anything, but it was enough to feel her pain.
Hmm. Hmm.
Especially when he comes to her after visiting his mom and they sort of like have like quick sex. And then she's like, "So you're good, right? You got what you came for." And he is appalled.
Yes.
Like, what? like,
Because that was a
um,
cheap shot. It was
it
a
was
cheap
cheap.
shot.
It was cheap. She was in her feelings. But
Mhm.
I liked that. I liked that we got to see someone regretting some choices
Mhm.
and trying to still be friends or figure something out. She knew she couldn't get rid of him. He was never going to not be in her life. He was never going to not be in her daughter's life. But I think you do, even with platonic friendships of any gender, you can sometimes get into it in you cross that highway line or you veer off into a ditch or off road and you got to figure your way out. And she was I liked being able to see her process that grief, and that she didn't throw herself across the bed, and she was trying to make it work, but it was just
Right.
painful. It was painful,
And she
that
wasn't
she had
overly
made a mess of
dramatic.
things. Go ahead.
Right, and she wasn't overly dramatic,
Mm-mm.
right? She didn't, even when she backtracked with Paul, which I was like, "Girl,
Yeah, that was
why
weird.
are we doing this?"
Hmm. Why do
Um,
you think she was doing that?
I think she was just at that point swirling, right? And in
Yeah.
fairness to Cora, again, Cora was a teenage mother. A lot more
Hmm.
resources in terms of financial resources, but what does she have in terms of mental and emotional resources? So while
Hmm.
when we meet her, she presents as well put together on the inside, on the outside, once you realize that her daughter was a product of rape and that her mother did not protect her
Right.
and believe
Right.
her the way that
Even
she should
still,
have.
yeah.
Right. It
Hmm.
starts and the mother, just it, I think some of that, what I might have characterized as immaturity, starts making a lot more sense. Cause like, well, what tools did she have?
Yeah.
Right. What tools
Yeah.
did she really have? Right. And so I think the Paul situation, I think because she had made the decision to release Tariq, right? I let you go. I let you go. Find
Release you
your
on the
love.
wings of a thousand
Right.
doves.
Exactly. And here comes Paul sniffing around. I think I made a mistake. You think?
Paul,
You
get on
didn't
from
have
around
that,
here.
yeah, that moment of clarity before you signed the divorce papers.
Please go somewhere and
Um,
stop wasting everybody's time.
and it's like she was getting attention and affection from, yes, second choice, but familiar.
Yeah.
Right. And so I could see why she like leaned into that familiarity and things happened. Right. Where he was like, "Oh, so I was hoping we would reconcile." And she's like, "What?
Get
That's not
away from
happening."
here.
Right? Even though
Yeah.
Nubia told her that's exactly how that would play out. And she was like, "No, no, no, I'm not going to sleep with Paul." 10
Okay,
minutes
because we
later,
both stupid.
right? Falls in between her legs. So,
Right. Yeah. I I loved her relationship with Nubia.
oh, yes.
I
Yes.
loved their sisterhood and friendship. And there's one point where she say two in the pink and one in the stink. She say other way around.
Yes. Yes. They were hilarious
They
together.
were very funny
Mhm,
together,
mhm,
and
mhm.
just in love with each other in like a friendly way. And I love that they had each other, because even when she didn't have Tariq, she had Nubia, and
Yep.
Nubia was, of course, the voice of reason. But for I think the layers here are that you end up in the same or similar industry to your mom. You were exposed to too much as a child. You ended up around your mom's boyfriend who took advantage of you and did something horrible. Your mother didn't believe you. But to think that she's a triple threat the way that she is means that she's been around the people who know this, or if they don't know it, they know something is up. Like
Mhm.
it brings to mind, like Usher was talking about what it was like when he was around Diddy when he was younger, and all
Mhm.
the things that he was exposed to and
Mhm.
saw. And that if that was her story, like to be in your 30s or early 40s, I can't remember which one,
30s. 30s.
30s, and you never left that arena. You
Right.
didn't do what some celebrity children do, which is stay away from the limelight as much as
Yep.
you can,
Yep.
completely divorce yourself from it. Not only did she stay around in the limelight, but she made her own name in that community.
Yep.
And what does that look like year after year with people saying, "Oh, your mom and her boyfriend, your mom and her husband, I've known them for," like, well, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's a
Yeah.
sore subject for me. And so she really did need Tariq and Nubia to kind of help her feel the love that doesn't come from that industry just because of what it is, but also because of her history with it.
Mhm.
So
It
I
was
love that they were so present for her. Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say it was interesting, and I apologize if I'm jumping ahead. It was interesting to me though in all the reveal of Dawn's paternity that it seemingly Dawn has turned 21. That
Hmm.
this was the first time they were that this was the first time Dawn was being told how she was conceived. I
Yeah.
thought that was interesting, right? Because I would have thought the question would have been asked, and obviously they would have decided on whatever they decided, but knowing that it was someone who was in the industry and uh, did they really believe that it would never come up? And maybe they did,
Hmm.
right? But that was interesting. Not that Dawn would have been told I was raped and got
Yeah.
pregnant with you and so on and so forth, but it was almost had the impression that it had never come up.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
I did too. I'm trying to go to it now, because I'm trying to, if she asked the question before, because I somehow they say if something comes up about like I never needed to know because I had to reek or something like that.
Yeah,
So
yes, that okay, now you're jogging my memory.
yeah, there
Okay.
was something about Dawn saying I didn't need the answer to that question, or maybe it's Nubia, not maybe it's Cora who says it never came up because she had you or something like that. But
Mm,
in the context of this book and kind of how the story was unfolding, she needed to know,
yeah.
or at least they decided to tell her. Um, yeah. So let's see. Let's go. What's next? We have hate. So you want to get into your grievances? Well, let's combine hate with stabbed if we can.
Yeah, because I mean, I didn't want to stab Cora. She just irritated me for a bit. I've already explained that. Julissa, uh, I wouldn't say I went so far as to hate her. I didn't like her, but I also understood that they had things had been done to her
Yeah.
that provoked that reaction. Now,
Hmm.
I will be accurate and note that she was being insecure about the friendship from the very beginning, and she should have just been like, you know what, I can't handle this. I'm realizing this is too much for me. And of course, we find out that she had her own, motivations for why she was pursuing things with Tariq and why she was
Hmm.
trying to like go into hyperdrive with him. But I just kind of felt like it was like once you told her you were ending things with her and you acknowledged that you were with Cora, it was like, right? Because like, so when you were sitting there in my face telling me she's my friend, I'm her daughter's godfather, it's like, okay, it was never that black and white. It was a lot more gray than anything else. And, you know, um, Paul irritated me, but I didn't necessarily want to stab him.
Mm.
But I was just kind of like, bruh, you filed for divorce, stay gone, goodbye.
Yeah,
Um,
goodbye. Why are you
and
here?
yeah, so yeah, and then obviously Remy, the true villain, but he was already dead, right? So it's
Right.
like by the time the reveal happens, he's been dead for a long time. So it's like
Mhm.
it's not even stabbing a fresh corpse, right? It's stabbing bones.
Mhm.
And
Bones.
I did think it was interesting. That was I give CCJ credit for the fact that that was not dragged out either, right?
Mhm.
Like it happened, it was the explosion, right? You could see in your mind the paparazzi attention, and then Dawn goes on that radio show and gives the interview and kind of says what she has to say or whatever, and then his estate, right, or his family
Yep.
put out their statement and kind of left it at that. Like she could have if she wanted to, that could have gone on for a lot longer,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
I felt like she did it in a way that you got the full impact of it. She did not belabor the point. Um, and the resolution of it was also not a rushed kind of like, okay, nobody cares anymore. But it was like, I think having Dawn address it, right? Like
Mhm.
success and on this very successful radio show where they're endorsing what she had to say and noting how disgusting it was that that
Yeah.
guy had dug into it in the first place and why. It was just wrapped up in a way where it was very nice and neat, but it didn't feel too nice and neat. It
Mhm.
made perfect
Mhm.
sense to me. I was like, "Yeah, mhm, oh, yeah," and
This
and
is
we were
how it
done.
will go.
Exactly, and
Mhm.
we were done with that, right? This huge, big thing, she managed to resolve it in a very tidy way, which again, I think that with a less experienced author, I've seen other attempts at that where you're like,
Mhm.
that felt, and like I told you offline, you give me language for certain things that I like can't put my finger on what's bugging me, but I know that I've had instances where I'm like, that just felt like, huh, as big a deal as this was, you put a bow on that really quickly.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. But I think the way CCJ handled it, I didn't have that reaction at all. I was like, yeah, this works. Okay.
Well, and I think part of the reason it worked is because it had happened so long ago. The guy was dead, and she had acknowledged that it was a part of her life, but not the end of her life.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think the fact that it came out, it wasn't some open gaping wound that she had covered with a fig leaf. Like I'm not that you ever heal from something like that, because I don't want to minimize it, but I think she just knew the wound well. And so, yes, it was painful that more people knew about it. Yes, it was painful that she had to disclose this to her daughter, or something she probably never wanted to tell her. But I also think, like, as Tariq and everybody else is rallying around her, they're letting her know, baby, like, it's they just finding out, but we knew. Like, and we
Right.
love you, and
Right.
this doesn't have to change anything. And so they were so close to her and kind of even helping her from falling into the abyss if she was going to try to go, that it made, like, the wrapping up of it made sense in the context of, this is something that my friends and the people that I love know about. This is something that I've processed as much as you can process anything like that. Because, again, not to minimize it, my baby girl is alive and well. She's doing wonderful and she's perfect. And,
Mhm.
at the time that this is happening, I'm also regaining something that I thought I had lost forever. And
Right.
so, it kind of made, I don't know, it seemed like it smoothed things over for her, and that it didn't need to be, 75 pages of her singing Yolanda Adams to herself, trying to bring herself back into some order.
I can't.
Alone in a
I
room. What she say?
can't.
It's just
Yeah,
me and
I can't.
you.
I can't. I can't. Those are all very fair points, right? It was not a secret other than Dawn. It wasn't a secret
Yeah.
from the people that were most precious to her, and
Hmm.
it was ancient history, and yet, you know,
Yeah.
pretty
It
important
still ain't
ancient
something you want
history.
to talk about. It ain't something you want on the
Exactly.
news. But
Exactly.
if it's got to
Exactly.
happen that way, at least let it be that your circle is and your village is around you tight.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's fair.
Um,
Did you have any different villains from the people that I've identified?
I I really count. This is strange to say. To some degree, I count Cora and Tariq as villains because what was wrong with y'all? Why don't you get married? Why are you wasting everybody's time around here with this foolishness? Y'all could have been married and had 7 kids by now. What is the problem? And like what? And but because the will they won't they of it, you go over this boy house, you do it to him whenever you get ready, like you say. It's she have sex with the boy, she go right into the closet and put on an outfit, and not we ain't talking about no shorts and a t-shirt. We talking about something cute.
Yep.
So
Full
like this,
wardrobe.
yes, this been your man, this been your house, and so to do everything but the title, I was like, y'all too old for this. Y'all too
Yeah,
old
but
for everything
but
but the
but
title.
isn't greater accountability on Cora than for that though? Because he said, and she was the one that was like, "No, no, no, I
He
think he
did,
should be."
yeah. I put greater accountability on her, but I also and CCJ doesn't write the like the whole hardcore alpha. Her guys, thankfully, are compassionate humans that actually like women. Um, so I feel like, but I to some degree, I wanted him to be like, "Hey, stop playing in my face.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stop playing in my face. We are getting married on Saturday. I don't want to hear
We're getting married on
it.
Saturday.
We going to
I
the
booked
Justice of the Beast,
I booked the venue.
and this is what it is. Stop playing with me before I slap you. Like, you know what I'm saying? What are you doing?
Oh,
I mean, not
physical
slap for
violence
real,
too.
but you know what I'm
Well,
saying? Stop playing.
okay.
Stop playing in my
Mm.
face. So yeah, to some degree, I count them as villains because it was inevitable, like the title says. Now, how long? Why did y'all waste all this time when y'all could have been in bliss and y'all fooling around, crying
The
for no
full circle
reason in the rain?
moment. Hilarious.
But other than them, I mean, like the other villains for sure. Julissa, like you said, I understood where she was coming from. Ulterior motive aside, that could have been handled better. But it was also reasonable from an author standpoint to give her that ulterior motive because you never want to leave a character that's been truly wronged by your main characters. You always want to either on the front end or on the back end. You don't want your reader to feel sorry for this person because
Okay.
you want them to focus on the couple and feel like everybody did what they were supposed to do. So this is why we're still angry with Ashley Nicole over Just a Friend because she left my boy out there twisting in the rain. It wasn't his fault. I
It
knew that's going to
wasn't
upset you.
his fault. It wasn't his fault.
I knew that was going to
Tree!
upset you.
Justice for Tree!
Justice
Justice
for
for
Tree.
Tree!
So yeah, so it made sense that she gave her that other issue and that she made her come after Cora because again,
Yes.
you don't want there to be a person hanging out there that the readers are like, dang, like they really did her dirty. Like you want the couple to be pristine at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, did anything surprise you?
I confess that I guess when I originally read it, I was not expecting Dawn's parentage to be what it was,
Okay.
the paternity to be what it
Mm-hmm.
was, and the circumstances to be what they were. I remember that being like, oh, ooh,
Yeah.
okay. And then also, I think with Tariq's mother, right, where he has that realization that like she was
Yeah,
trying
she
to
was trying to
kill
drown him.
both of
Yeah.
them, right?
Yeah.
So I want to say that when I read it for the first time, which was years ago, I was like, "Oh, right." Because it's one thing to have a parent that's got mental health issues, a whole other story, and the things that a child doesn't understand. But for it to have gotten to that point, and for
Mm-hmm.
him to be processing that, I was like, "Ooh, wow," right. And that's what I mean about like her adding things in that just created more layers than two friends, even with just two friends that have complicated family situations, right? Because we see
Mm-hmm.
that all the time too, but it was those kind of like additional
Yeah.
that I was like, "Oh, okay. Wow." Hmm.
Yeah, I was surprised that he knew all along and that he came to confront them and that he ends up going to her mother and having that conversation with her. I didn't. I was surprised that those things were still present. Like it was
Mm.
still very alive. Her relationship with her mom was just tough to watch.
Yes, it was.
Um,
It was.
because, for a lot of reasons, but I don't know how you stay in relationship with somebody. I mean, let me not say that. I know exactly how you stay in relationship with somebody under those circumstances, but it's got to be hard. It's got to be near impossible.
Yeah.
Um, Especially when you look at your baby girl every day and going over her house, and you better hope I don't burn this place down with you in it.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And so, but Dawn, I'm not Dawn, Cora was trying, she was doing what daughters do and what children do when they try to understand why their parents won't protect them. Why are you so mean to me? Why? And it's like you keep going to that well even though you know it's dry. You're hoping that one day some water is going to be in there. Like one day you're going to live up to what you're supposed to be. Well, one day you're going to have some water. And
Yeah.
her mother just never did. But a lot of kids who grow up with parents who aren't good parents, they keep going back hoping that at some point you're going to live up to your title. So that was hard to watch for sure.
Yeah, and just the reminder, because of course, what Cora's mother was able to provide was financial security,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
access to things, but it doesn't, it's like the food and shelter is the bare minimum, right? So it's like, and of course obviously she had she's an alcoholic, so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with all that comes with that. So it's just it's very interesting. And not something that we have not seen before, but it's always you appreciate when an author is able to just position it in a way that feels fresh, right? And you don't
Yeah.
feel, oh, like copy and paste from
Right.
so and so or such and
Right.
such
Right.
that
Right.
I
Right.
read
Right.
before. So
Yeah. She definitely was able to accomplish what she set out to do. Like we were talking offline about when authors reach for something, but it's still out of their grasp. Like by the end of
yes,
the book, they never are able to articulate what they meant to. She absolutely, this was a mission accomplished.
yes, yes,
Like
agree,
this
agree.
was, she absolutely did it. This I was scrolling through and she talks about what happened between her and Tariq. She says, in so back to those 13 years, in that time I'd come to understand that trying to get over Tariq wasn't a thing that would happen. It was a pointless endeavor. What would happen was that I would meet someone, I'd like him, he'd like me, I'd make sure he was good in bed, aspiring to greatness, and then I'd open my heart, the portion that was available to him. He'd fill it up and I'd fill his, and we'd love each other and be content. There might be some false starts and dead ends, but that's how it would go until we tired of each other and moved on, or like with Paul, got married. And so she says, explicitly, like, but I was just still irritated that they played in everybody's face for so long.
Yes, yes, yes,
Go together.
yes. I
But her
mean,
anxiety about him making a fool of her and like already being a little bit gun shy because of the trauma in her past. And I would imagine too that the arguments that they were having made her feel like maybe I don't know this guy. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like, because it's one thing to know a person, it's one thing to have a friend, it's another thing to travel with your friend.
Yeah, I mean,
And then
listen,
you find out how they keep their hotel room and you say, oh no, we're
right.
not going to do this no more.
No, I get that. And I didn't have an issue with the fact that it had been 13 years. What I had an issue with was it was like when the light bulb finally went off, sis continued to drag her feet like she was standing in concrete blocks.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, wait, like, hello, hello,
Go over
what?
there and get the boy. What you
Like
doing?
you finally got struck by the lightning bolt, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you know what? Maybe we can make this work again because we're full-fledged adults now and not
Mhm.
early 20 somethings.
Right.
And then even after she had that moment, she kind of just sat on it. That was where I got frustrated because I'm like,
Mhm.
the other things, look, she's raising Dawn, she
Well, but
fine,
at the same
whatever.
time, he's like having his toe in and out of the water with Jaleesa. So
Yeah, yeah. Yes, that, but that from what we were told, that was par for the course. That
True. They
wasn't
had seen each other do that before, and
yeah,
she had
that
married a
was
whole man. So,
exactly. She went and got married. Like,
hmm
girl, please. Cora is like, Cora, get yourself together, please,
please
and
do
thanks.
immediately. Okay, so that was my hate. I kind of counted them as villains a little bit, but I was happy they were together. Do you have a favorite character or character you most identified with?
I mean, my favorite character was Nubia. And of course,
Okay.
I was thrilled when she got her own story, but Nubia
Yeah.
was just that like, like
Yeah.
black girl excellence all
Comic
around, right?
relief, the
Yes.
sunshine. Yeah.
Fabulous,
Yeah.
genuine, substance and the flash, like ride or die friend, you
Mm-hmm.
know. I could see Nubia clearly in my mind. So I really was happy that she got her own story, right? Because sometimes you get these fabulous supporting characters, but they don't ever get their own time in the sun because that just
It's
doesn't
sometimes it's not
happen.
meant to be. Chloe
Yeah,
McKenna is a character that comes up a lot, but she hasn't
yeah,
gotten her own
yeah,
story.
exactly. And who is Chloe? Remind me, who Chloe is?
She's a PR.
No, no, I'm saying who she's married to. Is it
I
Ramsey's
want to
cousin?
say Reggie. Yeah, it's say the boy name again.
Ramsey's cousin?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
think his name is
yes, that's
Reggie.
the tie,
Mhm.
right? She was
Mhm.
married to him and he was in jail. He comes home.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So you get a side note about
Yeah, she
Chloe,
shows
but
up in a couple stories, a paragraph
definitely
at a time.
does.
Yeah.
She's like the precursor, although she continues to appear with Des Byers, but she's like the precursor to Des Byers,
Is
which
Daz the one from the
Vegas.
contract? Yeah, where
Yes,
the
yes.
girl
Mutually
she couldn't see
beneficial
his face.
arrangement.
That's
Yep,
it. I like that
yep.
story too.
And then Des pops up. I feel like Des popped up. Oh, Des pops up in behind the scenes.
See, I haven't read
Again
that one and I need
in
to.
Vegas. In Vegas.
Okay.
Nubia and Steph pop up in behind the scenes too
Okay.
because Pierre, the male protagonist, is Nubia's cousin.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Um and so and then Des gets her own story. I don't, that's not happening for Chloe, pretty sure of
What
that. But
story
like
is does Daz get?
Des is in the maybe next time, maybe this time.
Are you telling the truth? Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
The
Because
Vegas
I read
Nights.
that.
The Des is one of the yeah. It's Des and her brother and her sister.
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
think I knew.
It's Des, her sister, and
Denver and Kenza.
Denver and Kenza, and then
Oh, she don't have the names in the other
why am I
con-
blanking on?
No, I'm
Hold,
finna tell you
please.
who it is because I don't think that's true.
It is
Because
true.
oh my God.
Yeah,
Wait,
because
that really
Des
is
falls for her longtime friend.
stop talking to me.
Yep.
I don't think I knew that's who I was reading about. Now I gotta go back.
Shame, shame,
Is this the one
shame.
with the girl on the motorcycle? The boy is a motorcycle man.
No, that's Blue. Mm.
Okay, what's that series called with him?
That's him. That's so okay. Wait, that is an offshoot of the
Okay,
Vegas Nights
okay,
series.
okay, okay. Now
That's
I
an
have to get
offshoot.
myself together
Yes,
because I did
please do.
not know that I was reading about Dez in whichever book I was reading about Dez, and so now I have to go
Yeah,
back and
it's
get my
Des
life in order.
Byers gets her because they were all styled as novellas, right? But Des, because I feel like it's Des and her brother and her sister, but I think that might not be right. It's been a long time
I
since I've revisited those.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
gonna read them this weekend because I have to be sure that you're telling the truth because I did not know that.
you can do that because I was very pleasantly surprised that she gave Des her story.
Now we off the
Hmm.
topic, but so let's figure out how to
Yes,
get
yes,
back.
let's
But
rein it back. But we're still in Vegas. We're still in because so what's interesting about this, and it's probably worthwhile a question because I would want to ask CCJ if because on the one hand, I feel like we might have been given the impression. I think these two
Hmm.
stories take place. Well, set aside when they're in Argentina. I think that these two stories take place in what ultimately is Blackwood.
Oh, okay, is that
However,
right?
however, there are references. I feel like at some point Nubia moves things to Vegas because we're all we got appears in behind the scenes. It is the network on which the show that features in behind the scenes is being produced and aired.
Okay.
And they
Okay.
are now back in Vegas. And I think the impression given is that like Nubia and Steph are like
Mhm.
based maybe not in LA, maybe they're not based in Vegas, but are they based in Blackwood? I can't tell. But like cuz she doesn't refer to Blackwood by name, but there are other touch points that make me think initially that these stories are happening in what becomes Blackwood, but also there's like almost like a merging of, is it Blackwood? Might it be Las Vegas? From like
Mm.
the Annie Up series, because Tariq
Mhm.
appears in Annie Up. He's one of Kingston's friends. And look, obviously, people with money can move around. It's not like they're, and we know
Yeah,
she's
but
previously described Blackwood as like being somewhere between, I think she said something like somewhere between like Chicago and New York. Like
mhm.
an imaginary place where you could, because of its proximity to Connecticut, but then also I think in her mind kind of like having like a Midwestern-ish
Mhm.
feel or something or another.
Interesting. Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so just a
Book
little
2
bit
is
more.
Des.
Yes,
Maybe
yes.
maybe this time. So I have
Yep,
to go back and remember who I'm talking to because I did
yep.
not know that.
Get yourself
Um,
together.
ain't that something? Um, yeah, because I had no idea that that's what I was who I
Mhm.
was reading about, and I
Mhm.
love the series with the contract. Because that is the guy, the Jesus Christ, the reporter from the contract book is Nubia's cousin.
Yes. Yes, he's
Yeah,
another cousin, and Pierre is a different cousin.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So now I have to get
Yes.
myself together and go back and remember who I was supposed to be reading about.
And you know what,
Um,
I was conflating. So, the Vegas Nights is, it's Dez's it is Dez's love interest, his sister and her husband,
okay.
and then Dez's story, and then Dez's twin sister.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to get myself together because I don't,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I'm pretty sure that Dez's twin sister ends up it's Blue. Blue, the book 3 was the one that was like, "Whoo!" Um,
But what is,
he's the biker.
okay,
He's the biker. Brandon is the biker. Yep.
okay. I remember I didn't like him too tough, but I know a lot of people did.
I liked him a lot. And then there's an offshoot of that that focuses in on his bicycle crew.
The
His mo
predators, the
Yes, yeah, the
people.
Predators, exactly. So all of that happens in
Um,
Vegas.
okay. We
Yeah.
still off topic, but y'all don't worry
We
about
are.
it.
So yeah, let's come on back. Let's come
We'll
on
be
back.
all right one day. Okay. So my favorite character I most identify with. Um Tyreek, he was a good guy.
He was a good guy.
I
He-
loved how much he loved her, how he also though advocated for himself with her and he didn't let her really run him all the way over and be terrible to him. But
Yep.
he just loved her. He was never gonna not love her. And I like when guys are okay with liking women. Like I like when they don't have to be trained into being nice to women.
Yeah.
Um, that he, they had history. He understood that he fucked up. It wasn't exactly what he wanted it to be, and he stood by her. Like he could have just been like, the moment she started entertaining Paul, he could have closed the door altogether.
Yep.
But he didn't, and it showed to me maturity that he could recognize that even though I can't have her, I'm not going to be on some if I can't have you, no one can, or if I can't have you, fuck you.
Yeah.
That, he remained in her life because that's where he wanted to be.
hmm
So I appreciated his like emotional maturity, I guess.
Yeah, he
So
was he was definitely a good guy, right?
yeah.
And I think you could root for them. You could root for them because
Hmm.
you were given enough to root for them while you also chastise them like people
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
love of Pete.
Right. Right.
So
Okay. I'm still off topic, but now I'm remembering these three books, but I'm still gonna read them again because now I remember a little bit what's supposed to happen. Because somebody owned a limousine company and the woman had a
Yes.
miscarriage and he put her on a plane and don't tell her where they're going, but he tried to get back with her. Okay. Um, so let's go to favorite moment and least favorite moment.
Ooh, I don't know that I had, mm, I don't know that I had a favorite moment, but I think my least favorite, aside from the super obvious, right, of Dawn's paternity being outed like some salacious, bit
Mm-hmm.
of gossip. Um, I didn't like so there was a couple of, right? I didn't like the moment between Jalissa and Cora at the show. Was it at the show?
Yeah.
Because I was just like, right. Knowing that yes, Julissa was being very insecure, but we as the reader, because we had the full story, we're like, but she's not pulling that out of her ass, right? Um, and then I didn't like Cora getting, close to finally spilling her guts and then shoving a piece of pie or whatever the hell it was in her mouth to like prevent
Mm-hmm.
herself from saying it. And I was just like, ah, um, because those were more minor moments.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, before I forget, because now I'm feeling like the cat chasing the pointer, the red light laser pointer. um, Donnie also is from the Serendipitous Love series.
Yeah. Is
He
he the
is
photographer?
No, he's Fallon's brother.
I do
Fallon
know that, but
owns
yeah.
Scantilily, and
Yes,
he's her
Scantilily.
brother. He's her
Yes, I
brother.
did know that.
Yes, because he starts
Pixie?
dancing and dating Pixie in that
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
And then, clearly when we revisit him again, he's now in an off period with Pixie and messing around with Dawn. So I was like, I see what you did there. Don Juan
Right.
has made another appearance.
But isn't there also a photographer that's related to somebody? Is it the photographer
No,
from
Astrid is the yoga
No,
instructor,
not
and
him, not her. There's a guy that is a photographer that is related to somebody or shows up a couple times. I cannot remember if
huh,
he
and
takes
he's a photographer.
yeah,
Hmm.
he takes Ramsey and what's his name picture maybe. He takes
Oh, the
some
Rashad guy from
That's
Sugar and
him.
Spice.
That see
Yes,
what I told
yes,
you? I know what I'm talking about.
yes, yes. He also appears in several
Is he
different.
Love Notes? Is that him?
No, that's Jules, who is a female photographer.
Okay, he come up somewhere now. I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't think he
I'm
get his own. Do he
forgetting
get his
where.
own book? Do we know?
I cannot
I
remember.
can't remember. But
You
she put
see?
together a Wikipedia kind of like of all her stories and all the characters. So if you go on the internet, you can see it. Go on a
Yes,
website, you can download it for free.
yes,
Because I saw her post
yes.
about that on the internet. I
Because
should
I
have
think
looked through all of that to see what was happening, but I didn't.
we sure didn't. But we took ourselves down this rabbit hole that we didn't anticipate doing. Can we get back to being focused?
Yes, but
Um,
I'm just saying. Okay, so so my favorite moment is the moment where he comes to her house after seeing his mom and they have sex and she tried to put him out and it's like go home to your girlfriend because I know you can't tell her about this part of your life. So you came over here to tell me and to fuck me and then go back with her because she has seen him with Jaleesa. I don't know if it was the ESPYs, but they went somewhere. They were photographed somewhere, and it makes Cora uncomfortable that he's being seen in public with her now.
at the
And
show, at the
yeah,
show.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. At her premiere, it was the premiere at her show, but she was on the
Yep.
same red carpet with Paul. So why you mad? But
Yes.
anyway,
Yes.
so they have this exchange, and he's like, "Why would I?" He's basically like, "Cora, I would never choose her over you. I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting on you to come to your senses, and you worried
Get
about her."
yourself together.
Like that was my favorite moment because it was the beginning of the end of the nonsense
Yes. Yes. It
that
was.
y'all can finally be
Yeah.
together and stop playing games.
It was stopped in its tracks with that one
Yes,
statement. It really was. Yes.
yes,
Because if
yes.
she had been like, I need to think, I'd be like, girl.
No, she didn't need to think no more. She was like,
No,
"Come on." And then he let the girl go. So he just dropped her off on the street. He just
he
dropped
sure
Jaleesa
did.
off in a
He
puddle. He
sure
didn't
did.
say nothing to her to help
Mhm.
the girl get herself together.
Mhm.
I'm gonna
Mhm.
find Rashad. Now I'm looking through these books to see if Rashad get a book. Anyway, we moving on. I'm sorry. So that was my favorite moment. I don't think I had a least favorite moment, like you're saying. Of course, the moment of the parentage coming out and kind of how they wrap that up. I don't have a least favorite other than that. I don't. It's just a good book.
It was. And it was
Um,
good revisiting them.
yeah. Who did you want to get their own book?
They got their own book. So I was
Nubia
happy
and
about that.
Steph.
It was
Yeah.
Nubia and Steph, right? Where I was like, "Ooh," right? And then of course Jordan Johnson popped up quickly, half a second, right? And then
Yeah.
he's obviously in the Connecticut King. Dawn gets her own book, which is not standing. I did not reread that one. I know I read it at
It's
some
a
point.
neighborhood book because she ended up dating a man that make furniture or something like that. Stacks.
Okay.
They end up at the is was it her that ended up at the pancake place every
I
week
don't remember,
something?
but Stax is in Blackwood, so that would.
Yeah.
I think Stax is actually, to be more specific, Stax is in Mahogany Heights, which we're told is a neighborhood like outs maybe in the suburbs of, not the suburbs, because Mahogany Heights is like I think a little has like a reputation for being a little bit more gritty than Blackwood, and it's
Yeah,
now
I
coming
don't
back.
know. I cannot place the places. I
Yeah,
believe the places exist, but I
yeah,
cannot place them to save my life because
yeah.
I don't know the difference between Blackwood, Blakewood, Mahogany Heights. Then it's you go into the mountain with the Sugar Valley. I don't know. I
So
don't know
I can
Maple
help
Valley
you with
something.
that, right? Blakewood is the name of the university, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. Blakewood State University is the name of the school in Blackwood.
Okay.
And Sugar Leaf Valley, is that what it's called? Sugar Leaf
I think
Valley?
it's Sugar Valley.
Sugar
I don't
Valley
think there's a leaf. There might not be a
is
leaf.
like, like going, what we're told is it's maybe an hour outside of Blackwood. Maybe,
Okay.
maybe thereabouts. Like I think you're led to believe that it is a car drive away, but it feels like
Mm-hmm.
a completely different world, where a thriving Black community has been there for a long time. And Mahogany Heights is positioned as like, I don't know, as a New Yorker, there was a part of me that oriented it oriented it in my mind as if like Blackwood was Manhattan,
Okay.
that Mahogany Heights was like a neighborhood in Brooklyn, like maybe Williamsburg or something like that, that had, had a positive beginning, and then it went through a gritty, downtrodden period, and now people were coming back. Maybe Harlem, it might have been her inspiration for that, right? Where like think of the Harlem Renaissance, right? Where from what we've been told, it was prosperous and thriving and wonderful, and then went through this period, between civil unrest and poverty, right? Where there were whole blocks in Harlem at one point where, the brownstones were abandoned and the city of New York was selling them for $40,000 if you paid the property
Yeah.
taxes, right?
Yeah.
And now Harlem is back to being,
Right.
incredibly prosperous, and unfortunately, many parts of it gentrified, where the
Mm-hmm.
residents that have been there for years can't afford to be there. I think it would be interesting to ask her if that orientation makes sense or what she was thinking of. But I almost feel like she
Mm.
wanted to give you city, she wanted to give you something like city adjacent, but more like of a neighborhood feel.
Right.
Um,
So where
and
is the
then
grocery store gangster and the vampires? Are they in Blackwood or Mahogany
they are in
Heights?
Blackwood. No, they're in Blackwood.
Okay, okay,
They're in
okay.
Blackwood. Did
Rashad
you
does
you
get a
said
story. It's the trouble
you
with
said
us.
you said the grocery store gangster? Who is that?
Yeah, because this boy, that
The grocery store gangster.
I was so angry with him. I know everybody loves that book. I was so angry with him. I was
Oh
angry with him.
goodness.
He broke into that lady house while she was trying to get into her piece and take a bath, and
Oh,
he just
oh,
picked that girl without washing his
Orion.
hands.
Orion. Oh,
And
hostile takeover.
then
I was like, wait,
he a billionaire, but his brother
who?
is still getting in fights and getting picked up by
Ma'am,
the police. Huh?
ma'am,
I'm
focus,
sorry. Let's
focus.
get
Come
back on
on back.
task.
Come on back.
Okay. I didn't care for him at all. I
Wait,
liked her, but I didn't care for
wait.
him.
Grocery store gangster. Hold
Boy,
on.
is you a billionaire or not? Why do
I
you
need
even
to
know these
resuscitate
people?
myself. Well, excuse me. Diddy is a billionaire.
Well, we see what's happening to him, don't we?
Exactly. So those two things can coexist. Okay. Okay. Let's
Being a
move
crazy
on.
person. All right, we back
Let's
on
move
task.
on. Okay.
What questions do you still have?
I don't have any. I mean, because we know that they have a little girl that they named Serenity, right?
Yes. Do
They
they
get
have more babies?
married.
That's what I want to know. Do they have more babies?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good question, but the impression is no, because Serenity is the only one that gets mentioned.
Yeah.
So but I assume that they're happy and thriving and doing well. So I wasn't left with any burning. Listen,
Mm-mm.
I got what I wanted to know because she gave Nubia and Steph a story because
Yeah.
their what glimpses of their chemistry
The
that we saw,
IVF and
you were
yeah.
like, oh, what's happening there? Is something going to
Hmm.
happen? And she gave that to us. So that's why I don't have any lingering questions for out of this book.
Yeah. All right. Well, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree.
Let's move on to Nubia and Steph. I will turn the summary over to you.
All right. So we talked about Nubia, who is, a fashion model, supermodel, who
Hmm.
then parlayed into cosmetics, lifestyle line. She is a majority stake owner in the Black-owned network We All We Got,
Hmm.
WAWG, which, as we talked about, appears in other stories later on.
Hmm.
And Nubia is like the epitome of black girls rock, black excellence, fabulosity, all of that, right?
Yep.
And you get the impression that there was some hurt and some betrayal before you get the full story as to why Nubia is guarded, because Nubia is the, love him and leave him, and not even
Hmm.
necessarily love him and sleep with him and leave him. Because she's like, I don't have time for people to disappoint me again. I have my circle, I have the people that I'm going to depend on,
Yeah.
and love does
She had put
no
her
longer,
armor on.
yep, no longer has to figure into that. And best friends with Cora, as we've talked about. And so now because Tariq and Stefan have built this friendship, which is newer in a sense that they met once they were already adults.
Hmm.
The impression that we get is that Nubia and Cora have known each other a really long time. So Nubia and Tariq have known each other for
Hmm.
a long time. Stefan is newer to the circle, but has become a trusted friend to Tariq. And so he's around a lot. He is a
Yeah.
retired rugby player.
Hmm.
He is Black and Argentinian.
Hmm.
And he is actually part of both friends with Tariq, but also part of his financial services practice. That's right.
Yeah.
And there's chemistry between them. Another couple where the chemistry jumps off the page immediately. Even
Immediately.
when you are hearing about it secondhand, you're like, "Ooh, that's hot," right?
Hmm.
But Nubia's like, whatever. She enjoys the cat and mouse game that they're playing, but has zero interest in taking him seriously because she
Yeah,
doesn't think
she
there's
gives
anything
him.
serious to
She
take.
makes him suffer a lot.
Yes, yes. And Stefan is definitely enjoying the chase. You get the sense that Stefan has certainly enjoyed the company of women, but not necessarily a dog, right?
Hmm.
And they have very witty, sexually charged banter with each other that leaves them both like, "Ooh."
Hmm.
But it never goes further than that. And
Right.
he's kind of like, "Well, when are you gonna let me smell it?" And she's like, "You wouldn't be able to handle it," right? That kind of, "Ooh, you'd be passed out. You'd have to be resuscitated if you got one whip," or whatever she
Hmm.
says. But they encounter each other in Argentina and get closer than they've ever been in terms of something happening between them. And
Yeah.
now they cannot get the other off their mind.
Hmm.
And so they begin something. Don't put a label on it.
Right.
She shares with him what happened, and what we learned is that her ex, when she was had been diagnosed with cancer in her 20s, and her ex, who was a ball player, he couldn't handle it. He could not
Hmm.
handle the weight of
Yeah.
being with someone that was going through this at such a young age, and he bailed on her. And they were
Oh, what a
engaged at the
dummy.
time, right? They
Yeah.
were engaged at the time, and that left an indelible mark on her.
Hmm.
But Steph is even more than he appeared to be. right? There's a lot more substance to him than she gave him credit for, and it's a
Mhm.
pleasant surprise to her, and you're watching that develop, and she is becoming vulnerable with him. And in the back of her mind, what Nubia had wanted pre-cancer was, she saw herself getting married, she saw herself having children, right? Living
Mhm.
happily ever after. After that bout with cancer, she put those things out of her mind, kind of, was afraid that children would never be, and wasn't, again, we already talked about why she wasn't looking for love. And so things are going along really well for them, and she finds out that she's pregnant, and it's like, "Oh." But they're both like, "Oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess we're having a baby, right? Soon. It's early, but we're having a baby." She's over the moon because, again, wasn't sure this was even a realistic possibility for her. And then Mother effing Cancer decides to make a reappearance. And Stefan, in his shock, and let's say he was outside of his mind. Fine, we'll say that, right?
Way
He
outside.
he has what we would call in the law an excited utterance, which can be held against you in a court of law. The rationale being that when you have this kind of like, "Oh my God, I killed him," that you meant what you said because you
Yeah.
did not have the presence of mind to filter what came out of your mouth. And when she tells him that her cancer has come back, and she is already in solution mode, right? Because she gets the diagnosis, and Nubia is already like, "Okay, so what are we doing? How are we protecting the pregnancy? How are we proceeding with treatment?" Like, she pivots. That resonated with me because I think, just the notion of immediately going to the solution, because if you dwell on the problem, you're going to fall apart. Right. So you immediately focus on what you think you can control, which is, what do we have to do to address this? But Stefan is like, "I can't do this." And says it to her in a telephone conversation after she has told him about the cancer diagnosis. And it's like her worst nightmare, on top of the worst nightmare of the cancer, is
Absolutely.
repeating itself again, because another man who she had finally decided to put her trust in had been growing to was falling in love with him,
Mhm.
and here he goes, just like the other nigga,
Yep.
suddenly realizing he ain't got the spine for some
Yep.
real life stuff. And
Oh, I'm so hurt.
she very quickly is like, "Cool beans, you don't have to do anything.
Don't worry
Peace.
about it.
Don't worry about it." And ices him out
Yeah.
completely. And of
Yeah.
course, it is 10 seconds too late when
Yep.
he realizes he didn't mean for that to come out his mouth. Like, he was having an internal freak out moment that he
Yep.
allowed to slip through his lips. And he then spends the latter part of the book, working his way back
Mhm.
into her forgiveness and her favor through not the words, but by the actions, right? The acts of service, because he
Yeah.
understands that the words ain't cutting nothing, ain't doing
No,
nothing,
don't
because
talk to
he,
me.
yeah, because he broke her trust.
Yeah.
And I just, I love this story because it was like
It's my favorite too.
right, this notion of, Nubia, who, one of her signature look is this glorious afro, and she's got to
Mhm.
shave her head, and
Yep.
they're figuring out how to both hide that she's getting cancer treatment, and also hide the fact that she's pregnant, and juggling all of that, right?
Mhm.
And it was very satisfying watching Steph, like, go through his misery and realizing he had to put his big
Good.
boy, yeah, he had to put his big boy boxers on and demonstrate that he could man up,
Mhm.
and it was,
Suffer.
what
Yeah.
I appreciated about that was that it literally was that slip, and he immediately recognized the
Mhm.
error of his ways, but of course the damage was done, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't an argument, there wasn't more than, he didn't keep going on and on, he didn't start disappearing on her and not answering calls. It was that one moment in that conversation,
Mhm.
which made me think, how many times, right? It's like, People talk about watch what you say, in the heat
Mm-hmm.
of the moment, because you can't take those words back.
Can't
And
take
that's
it
what
back.
happened, right?
Yeah.
Because up to that point, there was no reason to believe that Stefan was the type that would have bailed on her. That was not the picture of the man that had been painted to that point. So
Right.
I almost felt like I wanted to stab him, don't get me wrong, but I felt a certain amount of like, "Oh, you big dummy. You what
You're
kind
just
of
stupid.
oh," right? Because it slipped out. It slipped out.
Yeah.
But she
Yeah.
understandably and rightfully held him accountable for what he
Mm-hmm.
allowed to slip out. So it was different from watching, when you're watching a man that has done wrong try to redeem himself, like cheated and trying to redeem himself. Like this was like, I won't say honest mistake, but you're like, yeah, I see how yeah. You were
Yeah.
supposed to freak out on the inside and you did
Yeah.
it.
You're supposed to breathe and swallow your
Right.
thoughts.
Right. You're supposed
Don't
to
let
wait,
nothing out.
be like, babe, hold on, right? Put her on hold and like screaming
Exactly.
to the wind and then
Give
get
me a
back on the
second.
phone.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys supposed to be
But
like, hey,
he
my Wi-Fi is acting weird. Give me a minute.
exactly right. Did I freeze? I feel like I froze. Did I
I feel like
freeze?
I froze. Yeah.
Right. Um, but I liked seeing him, right, like do the work
Hmm.
to earn his way back, earn the privilege,
Yep.
right, of being back in her life and to have a place in her life. So yeah, we like I said, we get to see Cora and Tyreek, right? So we find out that Cora's pregnant, right? Because there's some hit and
Hmm.
misses, and she's
Yeah.
struggling with
And
getting
she's trying
pregnant.
IVF
But
and
then
she
ultimately, she's pregnant. I think she and Nubia find out that they're pregnant
around the same time.
around the same
Because
time. I
he's
think
getting
Nubia
off the
finds out first.
plane. Yes.
Yeah, Nubia
Yes.
finds out first because she's like, "How am I supposed to tell Cora that I'm pregnant
While
and I
she
wasn't even
trying.
trying?" Yes, and
Hmm.
I feel like Cora, my 24 hours later, Cora's like, "Guess what?" Um,
Yes.
so they get
And
that
he,
moment of
yeah.
sweetness, right? And
Hmm.
then Nubia just makes a passing reference to like breast pain in her GY and is like, "Who said what? Huh?
Who is
Hmm.
it? What
Wait, wait,
happened?
wait. Yeah, no, we need to check that." And
This comes up too in Sugar Valley. The not the in that the what is it?
the
The
culmination,
combination of everything, not that
yeah,
one, but the one after that, the one
the
with the
point of it
vineyard.
all.
Yes.
Yes.
Where she has a similar thing, and it is Kyle who says, "Hey, girl, hey, y'all right?
Yeah.
Hey, you want to go
Yeah.
to the doctor?" And but she, in that story, she already knows. But anyway, um,
Yes.
yeah, so they come back together, and it's beautiful. And he promises to love her, even though she doesn't have any eyebrows, which is a very cute scene
Yes.
of her,
Yes.
like finally
Yes.
sort of letting her guard down.
Mhm.
So, what were your impressions? Let's start at the beginning.
I mean, I just this like you said, this is my favorite of the 2, and I loved that this could have been spicy enough of just the 2 of them finally coming together. We get a little blip where her former fiance has something stupid to say,
Yeah,
you know, but like to throw the to throw the surprise baby in it and then throw cancer on top of the
I
surprise baby.
know. I
I
was
was
very
like
surprised at
I
that.
was like, "Lady, what is happening here? What is going on?"
Yeah.
So it just made for a really compelling read, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you were like, "Wow."
Yep.
And watching Nubia navigate that fabulosity being tested by real world stuff again, right?
Yes.
Because she was not, like I said, she was substance. She wasn't just flash. And
Mm-hmm.
sadly, because she had been through cancer before, you knew that she had navigated her way through a very challenging period, right? On top of the
Mm-hmm.
heartbreak. And so to watch her get through it happening again.
Yeah. Like literally, this is a repeat.
Yes.
Like just
Yes.
different man.
Yes.
Like, and the devastation that comes with that. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
yeah.
And so I think, that gives I give CCJ credit that it was like, wow, this movie is repeating itself, even though what happened with the fiance, right, that happened off page, we are told about it. But
Mm-hmm.
like it was presented, it was the deja vu, and yet no, not deja vu. right?
Yeah.
Different man, and now let's see how this man, gets himself out of the stupid position
Yeah.
that he put
Would you
himself
have
in.
would you have let him back in?
I think I think so. I'm a Capricorn. We hold grudges. But I think here's the thing. They were gonna share a child together, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it was harder. Would have been harder to do that anyway, because he showed up from that point on consistently and did not try to broach the subject, right? Didn't, and I appreciated that as well. Like, he was not pressing the, because baby, I'm trying to make you see that I'm different. He shut his mouth
Yeah.
and he got to work, right? But they were tied together because of Trey. And so I don't know. And we knew that she loved him, right? And we knew that he wasn't a bad guy, but he had made a very stupid mistake. So I don't like I felt like, oh, I wasn't left thinking, I want him to suffer some more. I didn't feel that way. So maybe that is a surrogate indicator for the fact that I would have let him back in, because I wasn't
Mm.
sitting there dissatisfied, like, no, make him suffer more, name the
Okay.
child after someone else. No, I want him, right? Like, I got it. And I think it was because he shut his mouth and he just got to work.
um, I don't know. I can be a grudge holder, but sometimes forget the grudge. I forget I'm holding it. um, so I don't know if I would let him back in. I think when my feelings get hurt, it's hard to hurt my feelings. It's hard to hurt my feelings. But once you do, we got a problem on our hands. So it made sense to me that he went through her friends and that she had blocked him. And then, as far as she was concerned, she was going to do what she had to do by herself. She was going to put on her big girl panties and make it work. And that, he had to, you know, go to her friends and kind of, what do they call it, the entreaty? What is it? He had to establish some
Yes.
inroads to get access to her again. And him popping up at the chemo appointment, and it was one or two, maybe three or four appointments before she was kind of like giving him anything.
Right. Right.
um so I
It wasn't
probably
right
would have,
away.
if it wasn't right away, I probably would have gone that way.
Hmm.
Because when he showed up to chemo, especially if he's my ride, I don't know that I'm telling him to call the police.
Right.
But when I get mad with people, I think of really elaborate ways to let them know that I'm unhappy. But
Hilarious.
I think sometimes I accomplish them, sometimes I don't. But I think I would have given him a little bit of air just to use him, like she did. Just take me home. Shut up.
Yep.
Go get me some ice cream,
Yep.
like, or whatever that story is. But I don't. Yeah, and then she just happened to fall back. She was already in love with him. She was mad at him. So I
And
guess
she
he
was
would have
hurt.
got back
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's,
Um.
she was letting him come to the baby, right? The doctor's
Yeah, the
appointments and the
ultrasound.
baby, right? The ultrasound and
I would have let him come just to twist the knife. Yeah, I can be mean. Or like I would have gone and sent him a video and said this happened today. And then blocked him again. I hate you. I think we're already into love, but
Yeah.
we're just talking about overall how we feel about it. Did you want to stab him because of that? Did he become a stab for you?
I wanted to cut out his tongue in that moment. I was like, "No, no, no! You stupid fool!"
You big
Because
damn
it,
dummy.
like I said, I mean, it was like he blurted it out without even thinking,
Yeah,
and it was just like, oh.
yeah.
But immediately recognized that he had made a horrible, horrible mistake, and that wasn't how.
Hmm.
Number one, that wasn't what he was trying to say. It was more like, how am I going to be strong for? I have to be strong for how. Like, I thought that his explanation was credible. I didn't sit
Yeah.
there like, mm-hmm. It was credible when he gave it, right. So it was. That's why I don't think it rose to the level of stab. I was just like, oh, I wanted to slap him upside the head. It was like,
Yeah.
you fool. Because he immediately knew, like, as soon as it left his mouth, he knew. But
Yeah.
it was too late. It was literally too
Yeah.
late.
And given her history, there was no
Yes,
reason for her to hear him out.
that's right. That's right. No,
There was no reason for her to let him explain himself. Yeah.
and I think that's the thing, like, they both behaved, right, exactly in light of what had transpired, exactly as they should have. She should
Mhm.
have made him suffer, and he should have done all in his power to beg, plead,
Yes.
go through whoever he could. I like
Yes.
the fact that the sister was still holding the grudge, because that made sense, right? Like,
Mhm.
she was like, mm-mm. Um,
Mhm.
and he just had to show up and prove. No one
Yeah.
wanted to hear words from him. He had to show
Right.
up and prove. Period.
Yeah. Some other things I loved, of course, I loved her little sisters, very cute.
Mhm. Mhm.
And her impact on the story. I loved his family and their history and how his
Yes.
parents got together and them living there and how sweet they were to her when she visited and even the whole jet lag headaches and he pretending he in the bed
Yes.
and then
Yes.
roll over on top of her. You a liar. You wasn't sick, you lying wonder. Um, but he just loved her. He was just
Yes.
into her. He'd been chasing her for quite some time. And like you said, their back and forth was just always super cute and super hot. I loved that he was applying pressure, that he wanted her to know how he felt about her, that there were no two ways about it. One thing I meant to ask you though, in the when we just talked about inevitable conclusions, um, the one of the things that made her writing so fresh to me when I came back to romance after some years away was that she was letting her characters sleep with other people while they were pursuing their main person.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so, like I'm not Nubia. Cora has sex with Paul, and then there are some other books where the a person who's in the main two has a little side piece and they get a little something on the side. And I
Mhm.
that's something that I had not seen, like in the 90s, early 2000s, like Hallmark romance, which is what I was reading, that was unheard of. You would never see, like, both characters were pristine, perfect, meant to be together,
Mhm.
damn near virgins, type kind of stuff. You would get a bad boy, but it would just be that there were rumors that he had a lot of women. It was, and maybe he did or he didn't, but you never saw it. You
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
saw that, that he was with someone, or it definitely wasn't named on the page in the way that it is sometimes. And Nisha does it too.
Yes.
And some other authors will show you that as their main characters are moving together, that they don't drop their lives and suddenly become, glued to each other, that you do got to wrap up a few loose ends,
Right.
like
Right.
as you make your way to the love of your life. So that we don't see that with Steph and Nubia, but we do understand that they both have history, and he learned how to. We knew he had a history because of the way that he pursued her. He learned it from somewhere. He had to practice,
Yes. Yes.
But just one other just commentary about, like, her couples tend to be good people, but not perfect people.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's right. I think that's right. Another thing is, you were talking in terms about things that I loved. The way that they finally came together, recall it was around them doing the episode of her show, the makeover
Yep.
show with the
Yep.
teacher that had the breast cancer,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it was
Yes.
just, you know,
And then the little crush on the
yes,
co-teacher. Oh my God,
CCJ
I
didn't
loved
have to
it.
give
Oh, I
CCJ
loved it.
didn't have to give us any of that. It could have just been like, it happened off the page, they came
Yes, it was
together.
all so sweet.
The level of detail that was
Yes.
given, where that was real for you. You saw it playing out. You
Yes.
saw the little boy that she adopted. Right, the crush, her coworker
Yes.
who had
Yes.
nominated her for that
Wasn't that so
project.
cute?
It
Jesus
really was. And
Christ.
then, Nubia, paying for her implants
Yes.
because she
Yes.
doesn't, didn't feel like a woman.
Yes.
That just
Yes.
another one of those layers, right? That
Yes.
we she didn't have to give us that, right?
It
But it
made
was
the story perfect.
it really did. It really, really did. Was one of those, oh,
Yeah,
precious.
I had
And
no notes.
because I think that prior to that point, even though we didn't know Steph as well,
Mhm.
what we were made to understand was that Steph was a good guy. He was good
Yep.
looking, he was talented, he had made his money. He wasn't necessarily a whore, right? He was
Hmm.
Tariq's friend, so by association, you're like, oh well, if he's Tariq's friend, he's probably a good dude, right?
Stand up guy. Yeah.
But it's like seeing all of that, you get to see both of them, right? Kind of
Yep.
the qualities that would make both of them attractive beyond skin deep, that
Yeah.
they were genuine, authentically good people, who were also beautiful people.
Yep. 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 Totally
Yes.
agree. Oh, I'm gonna read it
Yes.
again.
Ye
Because
yeah.
that teacher part was, oh my god, it's one of my favorite parts.
It was so sweet, and her it not really occurring to her, like, fully that her coworker had, like, full-blown crush on her, and they were like, "No, girl,
Yeah.
he no, 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 girl,
Hey.
he wants you."
Yeah. He's staring at you right now.
Right, he wants you
Why
bad.
do you think he's looking over here?
Right,
Like,
it's like, he wants you
super
bad,
cute.
girl.
And I loved that so when they have sex for the first time and she won't take her top off, and also there was like a little bit of like blurred happening, like black nerdy girl with like her
Yep.
superhero socks and the
Yes.
t-shirt and whatever.
Yes.
Like there was just so much to her personality. Like
Yes.
everybody was three-dimensional for sure.
Yes.
And he makes her comfortable in
Yeah.
that conversation about them having sex, and him she's like concerned about not having feeling in her nipples, and he's still wants to try. And I mean, it was just such a sweet moment, that was, yes, sexy and hot and all those things, but she does a really good job of giving you not just what you expect a person to feel
Yeah.
around, like, oh, I'm about to get it, what I'm saying, but also the narrative and the story that's in a person's mind, right? So when you can have sex with somebody and you're in your head about it, it's going to cause some problems, and you do your
Mhm.
best to be in the moment. But she really illustrated, like, her being in her head about it and her trying to still keep that armor up and protect herself, and him being like, I'm not interested in that. Like, I want every part of you. Because even when they're doing the show, he says, like, I am not afraid of you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you do that slick talking, that big shit, you do that with somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, and so I just appreciated that aspect of the story, that he was her kryptonite, but like in a good way.
Yes. Yes.
Um, who did you hate, or who did you want to get stabbed? We talked about him being stabbed, but was there like a true villain for you?
I mean, the ex-boyfriend, but, like,
Hmm.
because it was like, "Sir, just walk off a cliff and die. How about
Yeah,
that?"
why are you here?
Right. It was just but we know that people do that, right? Like,
Hmm.
today, right? If people are just, like, randomly commenting on things, and you're like, no comment is always at your disposal.
Yeah, yeah. You
Just
could have just kept your mouth shut. You didn't know that?
indeed, indeed. And then the Sarita, and I forget the
Oh
other
yeah, yeah,
woman's
yeah.
name,
Let me find
right?
her name.
There was just something weird happening there, and if I am not which story is it where there's something janky happening at
It's Ramsey, and
WAWG?
what's the name? I think is when we find out that not Nubia's network, but that Sarita and them network is having problems.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
right.
gonna find it. Let me
There's some
see.
jankiness going on. Yes, there's some jankiness going on. Um,
But it
and
might be another story too.
you're right. Now I'm wondering if it's another story, because I feel like maybe Nubia had stepped away and then she takes back control or something like
Something,
that.
something, something. Yeah.
But like I think that this is like the initial hint, and then it further evolves in someone else's story, where because
Mm-hmm.
Sarita is a name that I remember, and I'm like, wasn't she? So she'd been problematic from the beginning,
Yeah.
where some jankiness was happening, and then they get booted out, and then WAWG gets completely taken over. I think
Yeah.
Nubia just takes it back,
Just
or whatever the
yeah.
case may be. So, but you
Yeah.
should know, since you have not read behind the scenes, because Nubia and Steph and Trey, who I think at that point is like maybe approaching 8 or 9 in
Okay.
behind the scenes. Yeah. It's something like
Okay.
that. You're I don't think she gives a specific age, but I think the way he's described, it sounds like he's not yet double digits, or maybe
Mhm.
he's just reached 10, but he's somewhere maybe in like the 8 to 10-year-old range.
Gotcha. I'm
Mhm.
realizing that I'm just scrolling through Amazon. It's a lot I'm missing. I need to catch up.
Get yourself
Yeah,
together.
I need to. Um, okay, so let's see what is left for us to talk about. Favorite character you most identify with?
I mean, Nubia was my favorite, right?
Yeah, mine too.
Nubia was my favorite. She was just this she just jumps off the page. She jumped off the page in Inevitable Conclusion. So,
Hmm. And an
her getting her own
honorable
story.
mention, it was perfect. Honorable mention to Steph's brother-in-law, who he talks to because
Yes.
the sister was in an
Yes.
accident, and then he was like,
Mhm.
"How did you make it through?" and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
Because he helped Steph get his life together. He probably was another character that just a little nice little like, well, how do you put it? Like a little appetizer or like
Yes.
a little
Yes.
side dish, a moose bouche.
Mhm.
Is how I feel about Lourdes's husband, aka
Mhm.
Steph's brother-in-law.
I also liked, even though we don't get much of her, is the other friend's name Blake? The other model? Who, like, right,
Yeah.
she was Nubia tells us, "Oh, people try to like pit us against each other, but they're super close." So I liked that there
Yeah.
was someone other than Cora, um who made up her circle, right, her group chat,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
someone in
Mhm.
the industry with her, and from outside looking in, people tried to paint them as rivals, but there was just genuine love and affection and loyalty between them. I thought that was another, because she could have just given us
Mhm.
Cora and her sister, and that could have
Yep.
been it, right?
Yep.
um so I like that little add-in piece. I agree with you. I enjoyed the fact that we got a little spice with his family, in a sense that,
Mhm.
dad was Argentinian, and then hearing that, like, the reason his last name was Foster was because the father had pissed the mother off. The mother came,
Mhm.
went to the courthouse,
She
changed
sure
their
did.
last names, right? He gave them her name, and then they reconciled,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So I was like, oh,
This
okay.
is petty. I like petty women.
Yeah, but I thought it was cute. I thought that was cute.
Mhm.
Just giving that little additional
Yeah.
wrinkle to it. So yeah, now I'm going to like peer pressure you until you read behind the scenes in particular, because in learning more about what you find out, Pierre is um Nubia's cousin, and that Nubia's mother, after Pierre's mother passed away, that it was Nubia's mother, and Nubia, because there's a decent age gap between the two of them, that she was more like a big sister slash surrogate mother to him, because
Yeah.
her mother took over raising, um or stood in as the mother figure for Pierre when his mother passed away.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's another
Interesting.
family member, not the jackass Jeff who
Yeah.
can't seem to get himself together. Um, it's another productive member of the family that is a Perry member, although Pierre is a recovering addict. So,
Okay.
mhm,
Interesting. I'll get into it.
mhm.
I'm trying to get into lucid dreams. So we'll
Oh, from
see.
Nisha.
Yeah,
Got it.
my brain is
Mhm.
letting me read, so I'm trying to catch up with her.
Okay. Okay.
Um, do do do
You
do.
know what? I haven't read that one yet. That's the twins, right? Night and Day.
Yeah, night and day. So I'm trying to
Yes.
see what's going on. I thought I wanted you to have read it. Now I got to see what you did read, so you can
I
tell me when I get
Yeah, I've
nervous.
read the others. That one I have not read, and I can't tell you why.
Okay.
Q
Well,
Brownstone. I
yeah.
can't tell you why.
I can't tell you why.
Yeah.
Um, do do do. Okay, favorite kid. Wait, you did that already.
Mhm.
Favorite moment, least favorite moment.
I mean, I feel like almost the favorite and the least favorite, ironically, I'm taking a page out of your book, because it's the same moment for me. It is uh, the word vomit, right?
Yeah,
On the
yeah.
one hand, because it resonated with me, where she was like, "I've got this. Goodbye." Right? Because that's something that I would do, be like, "All right, peace.
Right.
Bye. I will cry in private. I'm not gonna do it on the phone with you." And of course, my least favorite, because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"No." So they were two sides of the same coin, ironically. And then, of course, the other, I would say, like pure favorite moment is them getting married, right? And the fact that,
Hmm.
she walks down the aisle and Trey is clamoring to get in her arms
Love
and,
it.
they get married. So that's the like a pure favorite moment. But
Could not love it more.
I did love it. It hurt me so good, right?
Yeah.
The whole phone conversation from hell. Um, just because her reaction, I was like, "Yep, sounds about right."
Yeah, he earned that. He
He
earned that
definitely
for
did. He
sure.
definitely, and there were no tears, there were no nothing. It was like, "All right, have a nice life.
Yeah.
Goodbye."
That's so me. Oh my God, that's
Yeah,
so me. I
yeah,
am the queen of don't worry about it.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
yeah,
If I say don't worry about it,
yeah.
it is indeed over. Don't worry. And I mean that. Don't worry about it. I got it. I got
Right,
it.
right.
So I completely understood where she was coming from.
Yeah.
I loved like when they found out that they're pregnant and she, they're doing their little nightly routine. She want crackers and grapes and she got her specific things that she likes. And then he
Uh-huh.
mad about the crackers in bed. That
Mhm.
was just really cute to me. And then she's nervous about meeting his parents. And so it's like they had been in each other's orbit. They knew each other. He had been applying pressure, trying to make something happen. Something does happen. And they very quickly kind of settle into a cute little, pre-family. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
In such a sweet way. And even when they're taking the picture, he takes the picture of her on the beach while they're visiting the family, and then he ends up
Mhm.
posting that as his woman crush every day while she ain't talking to him for real. Um, and so all of that together, I was just swooning all over the place. I was just on complete cloud nine because I was immersed in the story. I was feeling what both of them. I wanted her to forgive him, but I also didn't. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed his pain and his process. So yeah, that series of scenes just did the most for me. It did everything I needed it to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was there anybody? Did you want anybody in this book as the follow up to get their own book?
Um, not not to where I'm like, "Oh, if
Clamoring for
only."
it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
No. No. I mean, listen, we weren't given it. We were given enough of the sister to like and enjoy her, but like I was fine with that being left where it was. I wasn't There wasn't like a burning like, "Oh, I would love to see her,
Yeah, have her get
fall in love."
more. Hmm.
And I'm sure that prior to behind the scenes, I had wondered whether by any chance they had had more children. We get the answer to that. It's just Trey.
Yeah.
Um, so, but I don't, yeah, because no, right? His
Okay.
sister's married, his parents are together, the
Everybody
people in her
happy.
life is already coupled up. So,
Hmm. I also like the scene where she tells Cora she's pregnant. I think it is very reasonable to think that your friend who has been trying and
yep,
has been unsuccessful, you want to take care of their feelings, but you
yep,
also know you can't keep this a secret.
I
And
agree.
so I appreciated that little window into the reality of it's like, I just got a new job and you just got laid off. Like, but I
Right,
can't not
right.
tell you. And,
Mm-hmm.
that Cora was like, girl, what are you saying? Of course I'm happy. You know what I mean? But you worry. You don't want to add to the sadness. And then I also love that they did get that Cora gets her baby, and that it's when he's coming off the plane, and Tariq is like, "I got both of them is in my house crying, ready to knock your block off."
Yes, yes, I appreciated Tariq
Like,
being like, "Bruh, I've
because
told
he
what was
swings on him, and
right."
what's his name? Steph is like, "Hey man, what the
Yes,
hell?
like the cue up the Tyra Banks. We were all
We
rooting for
were rooting for
you.
you."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Okay, and then we love the updates that they're having a baby and all those things. Any questions you still have?
no, and I mean I say that because knowing that we see them in other, like I said,
Hmm.
with behind the scenes, we see them. We
Yeah.
continue to hear about Nubia and we got. So we know how things are going in terms of the network. So that's why I don't have any questions because over the course of other stories, even though they weren't the center or even a supporting character, right,
Mhm.
you hear about them. So
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to get into behind the scenes and see what all who
it's
all is
I
doing
love
what.
behind the scenes. I love, and
Okay.
I think that CCJ, I think, just does a great job of giving you people that come from that are doing different things. And
Mhm.
so in this instance, I remember someone, it's one of our male reader friends, and he had commented how much he appreciates her attention to detail, that like she's I think he's a Scotch person, and like
Okay.
in equivalent exchange, um the male protagonist has opened up a microbrewery, and
Mhm.
kind of digging into like the science behind that. And he was like,
Yeah.
you can tell she's really done her research. And then with behind the scenes, it's television. And so Pierre is producing, he has written the screenplay for this series. And so it's all of that coming together in terms of how do you pull together a television production, and what goes
Hmm.
on right behind the scenes. And he
Okay.
comes from movie and television royalty because of his father, was like a famous director. So maybe think Melvin and Mario Van Peebles, similar, right?
Okay. Okay.
In
Okay.
that vein. Um, but Pierre, his father had a substance addiction, and Pierre himself also has that
Mm.
as well. And so he has come out the other side of that. But not all of those demons completely go away. And so, like, navigating that, his show revolves around someone, um, not necessarily navigating substance use disorder, but family legacy and figuring things out and the weight of that. So there are some themes there. And then the female protagonist, Logan, is Des Byers' cousin. And so she is coming from a similar family legacy, in that her family has built a very successful law firm in Vegas, right? The Byers name is well regarded, not just because of Des, but because they have a legacy. And she went to law school and became a lawyer, but hated it.
Mm.
And when she decided to forge her own path as an executive concierge, which her parents were very disappointed in that, and
Huh.
didn't understand why she wants to be somebody's glorified personal assistant, but that was
Interesting.
what she wanted to do. And so these two people come together, and her parents had mapped out who she would marry and the kind of life she would live, and she bucked against that. And so it's like, yes, two people that come from money, and come together because she gets hired by Nubia hires her to support Pierre as he's putting together his show,
Huh.
and
Okay.
things develop from there. But just another industry that CCJ gives us, right? Annie Up, which I know we're going to talk about, right? We get gambling, we get poker, right?
Mhm.
In the
Mhm.
the darker side of Vegas, and so on and so forth. So I agree with it was Aaron. His name is Aaron. I agree with him that like CCJ does a nice job of choosing different vocations and
Yeah.
professions for her
Yeah.
characters. And then she's not just like, oh, she's an architect and we never hear
Right.
anything about it, right?
Right. Right.
She
No, it's
gives you
true.
flavor of what that looks like so that it's real,
Yep.
right? And you get a window into, well, what does that profession, what does that industry look like? What is it, what is a day to day for someone that is
Mhm.
doing that?
Yeah.
Um, Makes me think of the what is it? I think it's Bittersweet. Is it Bittersweet, the novella? It's another friends to lovers, and the guy was he had become like a Lance Armstrong type, he world renowned
Oh,
cyclist.
really?
And
Okay.
his parents, he's biracial, his mother's black, his father's Italian, and I think they're both world famous cyclists too. So it was like a
Huh.
family thing.
I
And
think wait, I would know this, but so many of the covers have changed. So I don't know if I've read it or if I haven't read it because a lot of these I knew by the cover and not the title. So now
yeah,
I'm like, wait, where is it? Now I'm on Amazon, like where? Because I know I've read that one. But anyway, go ahead.
it's just the friends to lovers, and I
Yeah.
forget the female protagonist. I think she opens a bike store.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
remember, right? And she's got a
Yes.
complicated relationship with her father,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
An older brother, I think she has. and they realized after 50, 11 years, another couple, but it presented differently, right? But like they
Mhm.
realized after all these years
Yep.
that they're in love with each other.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
like, well,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
well, hello. But
Yeah, we had a
unlike
good
Cora and
time.
Tariq, those two had never been physical. The
Yeah,
Cora and Tariq were playing in our face. They
they
were
were.
definitely playing in our face.
Yeah, it was a very aggressive waste of everybody's time because y'all should have been
Yes.
together. We could have
Yes.
resolved this eons ago.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But you understand, the anxiety of are we going to mess this up again? I think is enough to make people be careful, especially because
Fine.
she didn't want to lose him entirely, and they end up having that conversation. I was trying not to lose you, and I've lost you.
Exactly. Yes. So
You
what
know
did we learn? What did we learn? All
exactly,
right then.
exactly. Yeah,
All
this
right
could have
then.
been resolved. I am gonna have to go in though and find that book because I think I'm looking at it. What you say the name was again?
I thought it was bittersweet, but it might not be bittersweet.
Is it
Hold.
in tandem?
Yes, that's what it
That's
is.
it.
It's in
Mhm.
tandem. It's in tandem. Yep,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go
it's in
back and
tandem.
get into this.
That's exactly what
Uh,
it was. Because as I was saying, I was like, no, I was like, I'm pretty sure that bittersweet, somebody is in a bakery or a chocolate shop or something. Bittersweet, I feel like there's a food element to that, hence the name. Because she does that.
yeah,
Um, so, um, but
Royal and Anika. I can't tell you what happened. I know
oh,
I read it.
yes. Yes, okay, yes. Bittersweet Royal is Roman's cousin. Roman is the owner of Urban Grind.
Yes, 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 yes.
And Anika is Jules' cousin. Jules is the photographer from Love Notes who gets with Troy, the barber.
I literally do not know how she keeps these people straight.
Yes.
Like it's crazy. Um, but okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, well, let's see. I think we hit everything. Love these. We will be doing more CCJ here, coming on here soon. Um, yeah, I'm gonna get right back into both of these, like I didn't just review them. Because I just love them so much. They are not I have a favorite of all above all. These are second to my favorite above all. Love, love, love.
Are you going to tell? I mean, now that you've
Everybody
done
already know what
that.
it is. It's a combination of everything. Favorite. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Well,
Love
and
it.
mine is Annie Up. So I'm excited
Yeah.
to talk about Annie Up because I'm listening to Annie Up again.
My favorite. Well, we'll talk about it. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I can't wait to talk about Annie Up and the other two books that have to do with them. With them.
Yes, yes. And then of course the spin-off. There's two spin-offs
Yeah.
to An Annie Up. You've got
Them people.
Alicia's story, and then you've got the Roses and Thorns, which is there's one, two, three books that come out of that focus on liberated roses
Okay.
and or thorns and
Uh,
life
what's the
after.
rose and what's a thorn? A rose is a girl. A
Oh,
thorn.
that was the so recall
I
Alicia.
know that was Alicia where she came from, but
Yes,
all right.
the Belrose compound, and so the women
Okay.
were the roses and the
Gotcha.
men were called the thorns. And
Okay.
so there's Alicia's sister's book, and then there is a book where a rose and a thorn cross path, liberated rose and thorn cross paths, and it's about the thorn trying to get the rose to be like, no, 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 we're free now that we're free. There's a community of us that have come together. Do you want to be part of it? And
Yeah.
then the third one, which I listen to a lot, the reinvention of the rose, is Tempest, who has settled into Mahogany Heights.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it just interesting how she was able to, not able to, but chose to spin these off in ways that it worked as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Okay.
It works in terms of that connection, but these characters, you don't mistake Tempest for Dacia or be like, oh, this sounds like same thing I just read about this thorn or this rose.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
really did give those people, their distinct identity, even though they were all not even though, while all carrying the same wounds from the same very, very traumatic experience, right? Of being like raised to be an assassin.
Yeah. Okay.
So
It's reminding me of Black Widow from the Marvel, because
I
she
was about
comes
to
from
say, yes, yes,
a group of women assassins that were ballet dancers or something they was doing. And
yes,
come on here. Yeah, we're gonna do Annie Up, we're gonna do King of Hearts and High Stakes Holiday.
yes,
Can't
yes,
wait
we
to talk about Zora. Can't wait to talk about Zora and Trey. Um,
I just this morning when I was re-listening, the part where Asha goes to the spa and is asking about a massage.
yes, child. Yes, 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 yes. This is fool. What's happened here?
And the woman, she thinks the woman is like snotty, but then the woman's like, "Oh no, you need to go to waterfalls for that, honey.
Right.
Can't get that
Yeah.
here, but I'll tell you where you can get it."